Y'all, stop what you're doing, because the streets are shaking right now. Word just broke that rising Bronx rapper, Q50, yeah, the same one who just went viral for that diss track, 50 Reasons You Soft, was attacked inside a freaking hospital, and not by no randoms, by his OPPS. That's right. While most people go to hospitals to heal, Q50 ended up fighting for his life twice in one night. First, after being shot in the leg during what sources are calling a personal retaliation. And then, again, when 3 masked men allegedly snuck into the hospital just hours later, disguised as orderlies, and tried to finish the job. Eyewitnesses say the scene was straight out of a movie. IVs ripped out, trays flying, nurses screaming. And all of it happened just feet away from the maternity ward. Now the big question is, who set him up? Because rumors are spinning. Out of control. Some folks saying it was an inside job, others blaming a rival crew from Queensbridge. And hold up, his own cousin might have played a role. Get ready, because this story has twists, betrayals, and drama so real you won't believe it's fake. Or maybe it ain't. Let's dive into it. They say karma never misses a target, but in Q50's case, it didn't just hit back. It pulled up, masked up, and walked through the hospital doors like it had a mission. So here's how the chaos started. Last Friday night, Q50 was coming off a high. His newest diss track had just hit 2 million views in under 48 hours, and his name was trending for all the right reasons, at least on the surface. The song? A cold-blooded takedown of his longtime rivals from Queensbridge. He didn't hold back. In fact, Q even name-dropped a few known street dudes, something he swore he'd never do. And just like that, the internet exploded. But in the streets, that kind of move comes with a price. According to an inside source close to Q's team, he'd already been getting weird calls and anonymous messages since the track dropped. Someone sent him a coffin emoji. Another one just said, "Don't sleep too hard, big bro." Q laughed it off in public, but behind closed doors, he was keeping his strap closer than ever. Fast forward to 2 a.m. Saturday morning. Q50 pulls up to a late-night dice game somewhere off Grand Concourse. Witnesses say it was all good at first, money flying, jokes cracking. But then, a black Honda Civic pulls up slow, windows tinted, plates missing. Within seconds, shots rang out. Q tried to duck, but it was too late. A single bullet caught him in the leg, clean through the thigh. He hit the ground screaming. His chain swung across the pavement as his boys scrambled to grab him. I'm hit! I'm hit!" Q kept yelling. One dude started crying. Another pulled out his phone to go live on Instagram. No one called 911 for a full 5 minutes. Finally, one of the older heads on the scene threw Q into the back seat of a Benz and sped him straight to St. Bridget's Hospital. Now here's where the story gets wild. Q50 arrives, blood-soaked and dazed, but alive. The doctors rush him into surgery. His crew is pacing in the waiting room. His mum shows up with tears in her eyes, screaming at his friends, "What did y'all let happen to my baby?" Emotions ran high. Fans outside the hospital started gathering. When word spread that their favorite rapper had been shot, people brought signs. Some even started praying. But while the doctors were stitching Q's leg back together, 3 men were already inside the hospital, waiting. According to hospital surveillance footage, around 4:13 a.m., 3 men wearing scrubs walked in through the staff entrance. No one questioned them. They looked official, even had fake ID badges. They strolled through the halls like they'd done it 100 times. And their target? Q50's recovery room. One nurse said she got chills just looking at them. "They weren't walking like doctors," she said. "They were walking like they were hunting something." Meanwhile, inside the room, Q was groggy but conscious. His cousin Deezy was sitting beside him, scrolling through his phone, arguing with someone in the comments. "They saying you faking it for clout," Deezy said, laughing. Q looked at him and said, "Yeah, well, clout don't bleed, bro." But little did Q know, the real danger hadn't even started yet. Just before 4:30, the door creaked open. One of the fake doctors walked in, holding what looked like a chart. Deezy stood up, confused. "Yo, who you?" he asked. The man said nothing, just stared, then pulled something from his jacket, a silenced Glock. Chaos erupted. Deezy jumped, in front of Q instinctively, trying to wrestle the guy down. Q rolled off the bed, tearing out his IV, blood dripping everywhere. The other two masked men ran in, shouting, "Where the bag at? Where the fuck are the money at?" Q screamed, "I ain't got nothing, I swear." And that's when a nurse hit the panic button. Alarms blared through the hallway. Security rushed in less than 90 seconds later, but by the time they got there, the three men were gone, vanished like ghosts. Only thing left was a broken chair, Q's ripped hospital gown, and a trail of blood leading into the hallway. But here's where things start getting suspicious. How did they know exactly which room Q was in? How did they get through the staff entrance? And why, out of all people, was Deezy the only one in the room when it happened? The internet wasted no time pointing fingers. A Twitter user posted a screenshot from earlier that night. Deezy had accidentally gone live from Q's hospital room. The camera flipped for just a second and showed the room number. Fans were quick to say, this was an inside job. No way Opps found him that fast. Another theory started spinning. Some folks claimed Q's label had something to do with it. Apparently, Q had been feuding with his management behind the scenes. He wanted out of his contract. He even posted a cryptic story days before the shooting that read, "It be your own people that put the price on your head." By Sunday morning, the entire city was buzzing. It was buzzing. Outside the hospital, fans lit candles like it was a vigil. "We thought he was dead," said one woman, crying on Facebook Live. "We thought they got him." But somehow, Q survived. Barely. Meanwhile, police launched a full-scale investigation. They sealed off the hospital wing, pulled footage, and started questioning staff. 2 nurses were suspended, and the hospital released a statement saying they were cooperating with law enforcement and prioritizing patient safety. But when they went to question Deezy, he was gone. Just vanished. No texts. No calls. No social media activity. Gone like a ghost. And that's where part 2 begins. Deezy's sudden disappearance hit like a second bullet. 1 minute, he's playing bodyguard in the hospital room, throwing hands with masked attackers. And the next, he's off the grid. No phone calls answered. His IG wiped clean. His location? Unknown. Q50's mom was the first to speak on it, and when she did, she wasn't holding back. "Ain't no way someone that close to my son just vanishes after something like that," she said in a tear-filled Facebook Live. "I don't trust it. I don't trust none of these kids around him. They're not friends. They're snakes." The streets started whispering too. People from Q's own block were saying Deezy had been acting weird for weeks, missing sessions, popping up with flashy new clothes, driving a Benz nobody had seen him buy. Some folks said he got jumped back in July and never told Q. Others claimed Deezy had secretly been linking with some Queensbridge affiliates, but no one could confirm it. What really sent the internet into meltdown, though, was the leaked audio. Voicemail surfaced, allegedly between Deezy and an unknown female the night before the hospital ambush. In it, a voice that sounds a lot like Deezy says, "I told you, after tonight, we done. He gon' be out the way. All we need is that PIN code." And the room number. Fans were shook. The comments were savage. One fan tweeted, "If that's really Deezy, he better stay hidden forever. We riding for Q." Another said, "These rappers be dying for loyalty, and all they surrounded by is betrayal." But before the internet could fully digest the betrayal, bombshell, Q dropped a surprise statement, straight from the hospital bed. His team posted a video on his close friend's story. Q was in a wheelchair, one leg wrapped tight, a hospital gown half hanging off, and a fresh bandage on his shoulder. His face looked tired, but his eyes, full of fire. "They thought they had me." "Nah," he said, breathing heavy. "This ain't the end. This the beginning. You try to kill me in my sleep? That just made me harder to kill. We spin him back. All of us. You woke up the wrong monster." Fans went crazy. The video was screen recorded and reposted thousands of times. Q50. Strong started trending. Some fans even started tagging New York PD and demanding protection for him, but Q didn't want protection. According to sources close to him, he wanted revenge. The drama wasn't just staying on the streets though, it was spilling into the industry. One of Q's closest collaborators, Brooklyn rapper Sevink, went live the next night, drunk and emotional. "Man, I told Q these dudes wasn't loyal," he said, slurring his words. "I told him, Deezy, always been a weirdo, always trying to be famous without putting in work." Then he paused, looked straight into the camera and said something that made fans rewind the live over and over. "He ain't even Q's real cousin. That's just what they told the label." Boom. Another twist. So now fans started digging into Deezy's past. And what they found? Nothing. No old photos. No school records. No childhood stories. It was like Deezy just popped into Q's life the moment he got signed. A random from nowhere who got too close, too fast. Meanwhile, security at St. Bridget's was beefed up heavy. Private guards now flanked Q's room. No visitors allowed, not even family. His mum was pissed. "How I give birth to this boy and now I can't even sit by his bed," she yelled in a new live. "They treating him like he's a target, not a victim." But honestly, the hospital had a point because by Monday morning, someone had already tried to sneak in again. This time, it was a girl in scrubs, claiming she was Q's cousin from out of town. But when security asked her to name his birthday, she hesitated. Then she ran, never got caught, just dipped into the stairwell and vanished. Police were overwhelmed. They released a statement saying they believed the shooting and the hospital invasion were connected and that they were actively pursuing multiple leads. But behind closed doors, they were reportedly furious. One detective was overheard, saying, "This ain't a hospital anymore, it's a battlefield." Meanwhile, Q50's Opps, they were quiet, too quiet. No one from Queensbridge had spoken out. No tweets, no disses, no videos, nothing. That's when fans noticed something strange on Spotify. Two of Q50's biggest ops had suddenly taken down their latest singles. Then, rumors started that a few of them had skipped town. "They laying low because they know the heat coming," one blogger said. "IQ might be in a wheelchair, but trust me, his shooter's still walking." But not everyone believed Q was keeping it street. Some said he was planning to press charges. Others said the label had hired a crisis PR team and was trying to turn Q into a victim hero story to save his brand. One TikTok theorist even claimed the whole thing was staged to boost album streams. "If you look at the hospital footage, those dudes ain't even aimed the gun right," she said. "It's giving stunt double energy." Q didn't respond to the conspiracies directly, but he did post a story with a simple caption. "Fake it, come try me again and see what happens." By Tuesday, things took another turn. A burner Instagram account popped up with the name Real Deezy Truth. The bio read, "Since you'll want to know the truth, I'ma give it to you raw." Within hours, the page had posted 3 blurry screenshots of text messages between someone labeled Q50 and a contact named Big Shell. The messages seemed to show Q talking about staging the hospital attack. One line read, "It's gotta look messy, but not fatal." Just enough to get the blogs talking. Fans were torn. Some screamed, "Exposed," while others called it fake. One thing was clear though. The drama wasn't dying down. It was just getting deeper, and just when it seemed like nothing else could surprise anyone. The hospital went into lockdown. A suspicious package had been found near the back exit. Security cleared the entire floor. Patients were rushed to other wings. Nurses were crying. One said, "I didn't sign up to work in a war zone." Q's mum fainted when she heard the news. Paramedics had to treat her on site. The bomb squad showed up. The package turned out to be harmless, just a box filled with old clothes and a burner phone. But the message taped to the top, it read, "You got 3 days to finish what was started, or we will." Now everybody knew. This wasn't over. Q's life wasn't just hanging by a thread. It was being hunted. And as for Deezy, His location was finally pinged by a burner phone at a motel in Long Island. But when cops got there, the room was empty, except for one thing on the bed: Q50's missing chain. The motel room was cold, barely lit by a flickering overhead bulb. The only thing on the bed was Q50's infamous Q chain, a thick, custom 18-carat piece with iced-out letters that read, "Never fold." Fans recognized it instantly. It had been in all his videos, all his performances. He once said in an interview, "You take this chain off my neck, you gotta kill me first." And now, it was sitting alone on a cheap mattress in a Long Island motel. No sign of Deezy, no fingerprints, just a broken loyalty and a whole lot of questions. The chain was turned over to police, who sent it in for DNA testing. Meanwhile, social media exploded. The motel clerk posted a blurry pic of the chain on Twitter with the caption, "Your favorite rapper just got ghosted by his boy. This is wild." Theories started flying again. Was Deezy trying to send a message? Was he alive? Or was the chain a plant? Some kind of twisted threat from Q's enemies? Meanwhile, Q50 was moved to a private recovery facility. Nobody knew where. The label had finally stepped in and pulled the plug on his public location. Only a few people in his inner circle had access now: his mom, his little sister, and one person no one expected: his ex, Naya. Naya hadn't spoken to Q in over 8 months. Their breakup had been messy. Allegations of cheating, screaming matches on live, subtweets, even a diss track from Q titled "Baggage Claim" that fans thought was about her. But now, she was back at his side, wiping his forehead, answering his calls, holding his hand during therapy. Some said it was love. Others said it was strategy. Naya always knew how to move when the cameras were on, a former friend posted. "Don't be fooled. She's not here for Q. She's here for the narrative." But Q didn't seem to care. In a rare voice memo posted to his story, he said, "Funny how when you almost die, the real ones show up. The fake ones disappear, and the realest one walks right back in like she never left." The post got over 4 million views. Fans flooded Naya's DMs with mixed feelings. "Queen behavior," one said. Another commented, "Don't trust her, bro. She not riding, she just waiting for the spotlight." But while Q was focused on healing and possibly rekindling old love, back in the city, the war was far from over. A video surfaced on Telegram, grainy, shaky, shot at night. It showed 3 masked men in a dark alley, standing over a burning pile of something. When the camera zoomed in, fans noticed what looked like a shattered recording plaque, some charred sneakers, and worst of all, a torn-up photo of Q50 and Deezy. The video was only 7 seconds long, but the caption shook everyone. "Blood in, blood out." The street took that as a death threat, and it didn't take long for the retaliation rumors to start. 2 days later, a known affiliate of the Queensbridge set, a rapper named Slim Bricks, was shot outside a hookah lounge in the Bronx. 2 in the chest. Survived, but barely. When reporters asked if it was connected to the Q50 situation, his cousin, standing outside the hospital, said, "What, you think?" And just like that, the city felt like it was slipping back into the old ways, tit for tat, shot for shot. Only this time, it wasn't about turf. It was about betrayal, loyalty, pride. Back in the private rehab center, Q got the results of the DNA on the chain. It came back with only one confirmed match: Deezy's blood. They had their proof now. He was there. He was in that room. The big question was, did he leave the chain behind? Or did someone take it from him? Q's sister, Janaya, didn't buy the setup. "Nah, this feel like some movie-type sart," she said in a locked story. "Like someone trying too hard to make it look like Deezy crossed him. IDK, something ain't adding up." Even Q was starting to question things. He told his team to go back through all the security footage from the week before the hospital hit. And that's when they noticed something strange. Deezy had been meeting with someone outside the hospital cafeteria almost every night. An older man in a black hoodie who never signed in, never showed his face to the cameras, and always left 5 minutes before shift change. They enhanced the footage, ran facial recognition, and the name that came back? Keon Ghost Mathis, ex-con, former enforcer for the now dismantled Fire Lane Mafia. And here's where it gets wild. Ghost used to run with Q's father back in the 90s. They were best friends until Q's dad testified against him to dodge a life sentence. You can't make this up. Q's father had been dead for years, but Ghost, he had every reason to want revenge on the man's bloodline. And now, it seemed like he'd found Deezy, maybe twisted him, maybe used him, or maybe just sacrificed him to send a message. Fans went nuts when the info leaked. This ain't a rap beef. This some generational vengeance type story, one blog posted. Like a street soap opera with bullets. Suddenly, it wasn't just about who shot Q. It was about the ghosts of his father's past coming back to finish what had been started decades ago. And then, another twist. Naya got exposed. Someone leaked a series of DMs allegedly between her and one of Q's old label rivals, Lil Feezy. In the messages, she calls Q weak and says, "He just mad I glowed up." Another line, "Watch how I flip this into a rollout." Boom. Betrayal number 2. Q didn't post anything for 2 days. Fans noticed. Some said he was heartbroken. Others said he was plotting. On the 3rd day, he went live. His face was calm. His voice was low. He said, "I trusted the wrong ones. Again. I let people in who never loved me. Again. But this time, I'm not going to cry about it. I'm going to bury it. And I'm going to get everything back that they tried to take from me." Then, he ended the live. 5 minutes later, his Spotify bio changed to just 4 words. Blood makes you related. His TikTok wiped clean, except for one video posted that night. Just a single black screen with audio of Q rapping. "They took my chain, so I made a crown. They shot at me, I shoot back now. They burned the bridge, I built a town. Ain't no loyalty, just countdowns." And the caption, "August 30th, the rebirth." A new project was coming. Fans were hyped. Some were skeptical, but everyone knew one thing. Q wasn't staying quiet. Still, the biggest question remained, where was Deezy and what happened in that motel? Because late that same night, another burner account surfaced. This one had just 2 posts, a picture of a bloodstained shirt and a text message from an unknown number that read, "He thought he could run. Nobody runs from ghosts." The photo of the blood-stained shirt was all over Reddit, Instagram, even private Telegram channels. Fans were zooming in, trying to confirm the label on the shirt. One user claimed it was the same brand Deezy always wore. Others pointed out a tiny hole near the collar, like it had been ripped during a struggle. The text message that came with the photo hit even harder. He thought he could run. Nobody runs from ghosts. That one line sent the internet into chaos. Who was behind it? Was it really Ghost himself? Was Deezy already dead? Q50's team said nothing. His label stayed silent. Even Q went off-grid. Again, no stories, no tweets, no music. Just silence. And that's when the whispers started. Some fans believed it was all a setup, that Q and Deezy planned the whole thing to fuel Q's comeback. Others thought Deezy was being held somewhere, alive, maybe forced to stay quiet. But the darker theory was gaining traction, that Ghost had caught up with him. And that shirt was a trophy. Meanwhile, Q was seen by paparazzi for the first time since the shooting, walking slowly into a private studio in Jersey, hoodie over his head, Naya nowhere in sight. But guess who was with him? Janaya, his sister, the same one who said, "This feel like a movie." And she wasn't smiling. She looked serious, locked in. Fans said she's the one who always handled Q's security, who always had his passwords, who knew who was real and who was fake. And now, she was running point. A week later, a secret listening party took place. No press, no cameras, just a handful of industry heads, a few trusted fans, and Q himself. They say the album he played that night wasn't just music. It was a confession, a threat, a eulogy. The first track was called Exit Wound. In it, Q rapped, "Bullet in my back, pain in my chest, homie did me dirty. Now he laid to rest. Never said goodbye, never sent a text. Now I light a candle, ashes on my desk." When the song ended, nobody clapped. People were in shock. Some said it felt like a funeral. Others said it felt like revenge. But the most chilling part, a voice note played at the end of the track. And it sounded like Deezy. "If you hearing this, I ain't make it back. But no, I ain't go out scared. I did what I had to do. For you, bro. Always for you." That clip got leaked the next day. Blogs ran wild. "Deezy is gone," one headline read. "The streets are officially in mourning." Even rappers who hadn't spoken on the situation started posting tributes. Throwback, pics, clips of Q and Deezy in the studio. Hashtags like DrumRipDeezy and Forever50 started trending. But the most heartbreaking post came from Janaya. She posted a photo of Q holding his head in his hands, sitting alone in the studio. The caption just said, "They didn't just shoot his body, they shot his heart." Still, no body had been found. No confirmation from law enforcement. No family members speaking out. Nothing official. And then came the final twist. On the night of Q's big return concert, August 30th, the date teased in the TikTok post, the show sold out in 3 minutes. Madison Square Garden. Packed. Q came on stage in a long black coat. Smoke swirling around his feet, the crowd screaming his name. He stood still for a long moment, then the lights dimmed. The beat dropped, and he shouted into the mic, "I'm back, and they thought they buried me." Song after song hit like a sledgehammer. But just before the final track, he paused. He looked out at the crowd and said, "Some people didn't make it to see this moment. Some people betrayed me. Some people died for me. And some people are still watching." Then, the screens behind him lit up with never-before-seen footage, security camera clips, private convos, audio from hospital rooms, even footage of Ghost meeting with people in parking lots. And then, the final clip, a video of Deezy, alive. He was sitting in a room with grey walls, bandages on his shoulder, holding a phone up to his face. "If you're watching this, it means we won. They didn't get us. Not really. Yeah, I got hit. Yeah, I bled. But I'm still here. And if you ever loved me, if you ever rocked with us, you know what time it is." The crowd lost it, screaming, crying, some in shock. He just stood there, tears in his eyes, letting the noise wash over him. When the music kicked back in, it wasn't a diss track. It wasn't rage. It was something different. It was a tribute. A song called Brother's Keeper. In it, Q told the whole story. How he and Deezy planned to bait the real enemy. How they knew Ghost was watching. How they used the chain, the motel, even the silence. Everything was part of a setup to draw Ghost out, to take back their power, and they did. 2 days before the concert, Ghost was arrested in Queens on charges unrelated to the shooting. But sources say a sealed indictment is coming. And Q's team, they had everything. Footage, witnesses, even voice recordings. They played him at his own game. And the best part, nobody saw it coming. Q and Deezy had gone from victims to kings. But it came at a cost. Trust was broken, love was lost. And even though Deezy was alive, he wasn't coming back to the spotlight anytime soon. In a final voice memo that played as Q left the stage, Deezy said, "Some things ain't worth going viral for. I'm done with the fame. But for my brother, I'd do it again." Q disappeared behind the curtain, the arena still shaking with noise. And just like that, the saga was over. Or was it? Because 3 days later, Naya posted a selfie. She was on a beach, smiling, with a new man. The caption, When one king falls, another rises. And in his lap, a shiny gold chain, not Q's, not Deezy's, but one with the initials, GM, Ghost, Mathis. The streets ain't never seen a twist like this. And just like that, the game changed again. Q50 walked out with a win, but left behind scars that fame couldn't hide. Deezy might have survived, but at what cost? Loyalty was tested, brotherhood was pushed to the edge, and a new player just entered the board. Naya, with Ghost's chain in her lap like she knew something the rest of us didn't. The fans, they're divided, some calling it the greatest comeback in rap history, others saying Q faked his own downfall for clout. Conspiracy videos dropping every hour. Was Ghost really locked up? Is Naya playing both sides? Was Deezy's disappearance really staged from the jump? Or was that hospital attack more real than we thought? One thing's for sure, ain't nobody safe in this game. So now we turn to you. What do you think really happened in that hospital room? Was Ghost the mastermind or just another pawn? And what about Naya? Ride or snake? Drop your theories in the comments. We want to hear from the fans who've been following every twist and turn of this crazy story. Don't forget to like the video if you think Q50's comeback was legendary, or hit that dislike if you feel like the whole thing was just smoke and mirrors. Make sure you subscribe for more wild stories, exclusive leaks, and breakdowns of everything going down in the streets and studios. You know we keep it raw, we keep it messy, and we keep it real. Kind of. This has been another insane ride. And trust, it's far from over. You already know what it is. Stay locked in, stay woke, and stay dangerous.